Hello friends, welcome to Audiobook Daily. Today we'll talk about The Universe Has Your Back by Gabrielle Bernstein. Mira was only 22, but her heart already felt tired. Every morning, she scrolled through social media and saw classmates posting photos from universities in Canada, Australia, and Europe. They shared stories of new campuses, internships, and dreams coming true. Mira smiled for them, but once she put her phone down, tears quietly filled her eyes. She had the same dream. She wanted to study abroad, receive a world-class education, build a successful career, support her parents, and prove that a girl from a middle-class family could change her destiny. But there was one painful reality. Her parents couldn't afford international tuition. A scholarship was her only hope. The problem wasn't her ability, it was her lack of focus. She bought study materials but never finished them. She downloaded language learning apps but stopped using them after a few days. Every Monday she made a perfect study plan, and by Wednesday she had already given up. Fear slowly replaced hope. What if I'm not good enough? What if I never get selected? What if everyone else is smarter than me? Those questions became louder than her dreams. One rainy afternoon, while returning home after another disappointing scholarship seminar, she entered a small bookstore to escape the rain. She wasn't looking for anything, but one title immediately caught her attention. The Universe Has Your Back. Something about the title made her stop. She picked up the book, smiled, and bought it with the last money left in her purse. Days passed, and the book remained untouched on her balcony table. Then came one of the hardest evenings of her life. She received another rejection email, not because she lacked talent, but because she had delayed submitting important documents until the deadline had passed. Sitting alone on the balcony, watching the sunset disappear behind dark clouds, she whispered, "Maybe this dream isn't meant for me." Just then, a cool breeze pushed the forgotten book onto the floor beside her. She picked it up and opened the first page. The words didn't change her circumstances. They changed her thinking. For the first time, Mira realized that her biggest obstacle wasn't money. It was fear. The first lesson was, choose love over fear. She understood that every decision she made came from fear. Fear of failure, rejection, and judgment. The next morning, instead of asking, "What if I fail?" she asked herself, "What if I become the person I've always dreamed of becoming?" That small change transformed her mindset. The second lesson taught her to trust the universe. Instead of believing life was against her, she began believing every delay was preparing her for something better. She stopped comparing herself with others and focused on improving herself every day. The third lesson was, surrender instead of forcing. She had become obsessed with one particular university, believing only that admission could make her happy. The book reminded her that her responsibility was to give her best effort, not to control every outcome. If one door closed, another could open. For the first time, she felt peaceful. The fourth lesson was, your perception creates your experience. Earlier, every rejection felt like proof she wasn't capable. Now every rejection became feedback. She improved her essays, corrected her mistakes, strengthened her English, and prepared better applications. Slowly, disappointment turned into determination. The fifth lesson was forgiveness. She realized she had been carrying years of resentment. She blamed relatives who mocked her dreams, teachers who underestimated her, friends who discouraged her. Most of all, she blamed herself. One night she wrote every painful memory in her journal. Then she whispered, "I forgive all of you, and I forgive myself." That night, she slept peacefully. Her heart finally felt lighter. The sixth lesson emphasized daily spiritual practices. Every morning, Mira spent 30 quiet minutes with herself. She meditated. She prayed. She wrote 3 things she was grateful for. She repeated affirmations. I am capable. I deserve opportunities. My dreams are possible. Then she studied with complete focus. Days became weeks. Weeks became months. Gradually, discipline replaced motivation. She no longer waited until she felt inspired. She simply showed up every single day. The seventh lesson was synchronicity and guidance. One afternoon, a visiting professor announced a little-known international scholarship competition. Mira almost skipped the seminar. But something inside encouraged her to attend. There she met previous scholarship winners, learned how to write stronger essays, improved her interview skills, and found mentors who guided her through the application process. Looking back, those moments didn't feel like coincidences. They felt like life gently guiding her because she had finally become open enough to notice. Months later, she sat before the scholarship interview panel. The old Mira would have been terrified. The new Mira smiled with quiet confidence. When asked why she deserved the scholarship, she replied, "I don't deserve it because life has been easy. I deserve it because every challenge has taught me resilience, discipline, gratitude, and hope. Whatever happens today, I have already become stronger than the girl I was yesterday." A few weeks later, an email arrived. Congratulations! She had been awarded a full scholarship to study abroad. She cried. Her parents cried. That evening, she returned to the same balcony where she had almost given up. Holding The Universe Has Your Back, she finally understood the book's greatest lesson. The eighth lesson was, miracles are shifts in perception. The scholarship wasn't the miracle. The real miracle had happened months earlier. It was the girl who stopped living in fear. The girl who forgave herself. The girl who trusted instead of worrying. The girl who chose discipline over excuses and faith over doubt. Sometimes life doesn't change overnight. First you change. Then your life begins to follow. Months later, Mira boarded a flight to her dream university carrying one suitcase. But the most valuable thing she carried wasn't inside her luggage. It was the faith she had discovered one lonely evening, when a forgotten book reminded her that the universe had been supporting her all along. Thank you for listening. If you like the audio, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. See you in next Audiobook Daily.